Welcome back, guys. It is Championship Racing once again here at SARCO. It is round number 6. We're here at Road America. The rain is out and we are not expecting it to be going away anytime soon. We unfortunately are plagued by load shedding once again here in South Africa, and unfortunately we only find 7 drivers making it to the starting lineup. This 40-minute race starting position was determined by a 10-minute qualifying. The qualifying was done in the wet. So sit back and enjoy the highlights of this Tier 1 round number 6. The starting positions are as follows. Dylan, he starts off in a 7th place, not being able to get pace down onto this track. Marshall in the blue Corvette, he puts himself 6th, with Shane in the black GT40 in 5th position. Theo and his Porsche find themselves 4th, and Jakes, he starts off in 3rd place, with 2nd going to Ben, newcomer to the series, and Marius puts himself in pole position. Let's go racing. We wait for the green lights, and it is green lights, and we are racing here at Road America. Very cautious off the start, and Jakes has actually had a really good start coming off the line. He's now got Ben side by side as they come into turn number 1. Theo also having a look on the inside. Everyone seems to be safe. Well, that was the black GT of Shane. Now Ben looking to the inside into turn number 2. Marius holds on to that position. Jump on board with Jakes in the Corvette as we chase Ben as they come under the bridge through turn number 4. Down the hill through the moraine sweep into turn number 5. Ben looking to the inside down into turn 5. Marius sees him coming, and unfortunately Marius losing under position, but a great overtake there for Ben, sticking the BMW on the inside. The new race leader, Ben, with Marius right behind him. Those positions look as follows. That's Ben, Marius, Jakes, Theo. That was Marshall, Dylan, then Shane. You can see how wet the current track conditions are. There will be a slight break in the rain in the next 10 minutes. Jumping back to Dylan, he is starting to put some pressure here on Marshall as they come through the carousel. Good exit by both Dylan and by Marshall. Now through the kink at turn number 11, Dylan is a little bit wide. He should have come off the power there, but did manage to hang on. Back on board with our leaders, and Marius currently following Ben through the extremely fast turn number 13, then onto the brakes, down into 2nd gear, get the car rotated through turn number 14. Then they'll head back up the hill to cross the start finish line. We'll move the camera to follow Ben, our race leader, having joined us 3 races ago, and here he finds himself in the 1st position here on lap number 2 of our round number 6 of our GTE Championship here at Road America. Ben starting to open a little bit of a comfortable lead between himself and Marius, and I'm sure the likes of Marius and Jakes are going to be wanting to close him down and not let, we say in inverted brackets, the rookie coming here to take a win. Further down the field, and Dylan has started to lose his way between himself and Marshall, and this is allowing Shane to start closing up that gap. Down into turn number 5, very tricky section. You can see how Dylan's car was squirreling on those brakes. Oh, a little oversteer there for Dylan. Back to the leaders, and Marius has been able to get himself closer to Ben. Ben currently driving out of Australia. He has to get up at 5:30 in the morning to make sure that he's able to join us. But here he's definitely showing these South African boys what he's made of. But really great to see. So the pack comes through turn number 10 out of the carousel. Now they'll go towards the kink, and this is definitely not flat in these conditions. You could hear the likes of the Corvette just changing its revs ever so slightly, so Definitely sounds like there was a lift. Back to Theo. Theo currently occupying the 4th position. That is Marshall behind him. Oh, Marshall going a little bit wide. I wonder if that's going to impact his current position. No, it does seem like Dylan was still far enough to not be able to put some pressure on and fight there for a position. What it does mean, however, is now Marshall seems to have made a mistake, because now he has Dylan starting to close that gap on him. The water would start pooling on the track there through turn number 8, now into turn number 9 and out of the carousel. Marshall taking a very tight line where we saw Dylan went a little bit wider, then a later entry or exit onto that corner. Back to the leading 3, and Ben is still keeping Morris behind him. And in the green car behind Morris, that is Jake's. So the track will start getting pools of water forming, and we'll see where the guys are coming up the start finish line. They'll move over to the right hand side, because just past the start finish line there is a pool of water that would have started collecting. Morris crosses the line and the guys begin a lap at number 4. The current positions are Ben leads for Australia. Morris, he's in 2nd place with Jakes in 3rd. Theo in 4th. Marshall, he's down in 5th place with Dylan in 6th. And that is a big spin there for Morris. Did not expect, and that's Jakes off as well. Let's go have a look. So in front we see Morris going into turn number 1, and the car just seems to rotate. Jake sees it happening. Obviously he comes off the power, the car grips once again, and that unfortunately sends him off. But that was extremely close. Jake's trying to get back onto the track, Theo nearly hitting him, and now Jakes and Morris at the back, which means that the top 3 have now changed, having lost both Morris and Jakes in those 2 podium positions. That now puts Theo and Marshall up into the 2nd and 3rd place. Well, Shane going a little bit wide, and so too was Dylan, obviously having hit the puddle, which hadn't shown itself the lap before. So Jake's now getting right up behind Shane. Jake's going a little bit wide, not able to get the power down. Down the little hill towards turn number 8. We saw the little blocks of water starting to form on the inside that corner, so the guys would need to be careful there. On board with Jakes in his Corvette coming through Kettle Bottoms. 400 meter mark on the brakes. So Shane has missed his braking marker, or he's locked up, and that's taken him off. But that means now Jakes has moved himself up into 6th position, and Shane is now back to that 7th place. 200 meters before the corner, turning in back on the power. A little bit of a rear slide there for Jakes coming out, but he'll now go into the pits, obviously finding himself with some damage after the first corner incident. We jump to the 4th place driver, that is Dylan, with Morris behind him. Both Morris and Dylan are coming out of turn number 3. Now through turn number 4 under the bridge. Just in front in that blue Corvette, that is Marshall. Marshall currently sitting in 3rd place, so a really good result for him currently. On the brakes into turn number 5. And Dylan is struggling to get that power down. You can see the dry line starting to form up through turn number 6. Then the little flick through turn number 7. Now they'll be hard braking into turn number 8. Dylan sliding with the rear out just a little bit, but managing to catch it. Now into turn 9. Double tap for the brakes there into turn 10. Dylan letting that car of the rear slide as he gets that power down, and he's been able to keep himself away from Marius. Through the kink in turn number 11, little let off from Dylan. Once again allowing the car to slide through the corner. Now into turn number 12. So Dylan currently being able to keep Marius at bay. A little flick through turn number 13. 200 meter mark on the brakes. Now on the dry spot. And Dylan is struggling to get that power down once again. We jump on board with Marius as he starts trying to find a way around Dylan. We'll see both drivers moving to the right hand side. The paddle is just on the left. Marius will have a little look on the inside, but not close enough to make an overtake. Dylan struggles to get out of turn number 1. They head through turn 2 now for turn 3, braking on the dry patch. Dylan's car bogs down. Marius gives him a little tag from behind, but no damage done. Out of turn number 4, now down the hill into this very tricky braking zone. Dylan's once again stuck trying to get that power up that allows Marius to close that gap all the way down. Through turn number 6, now through turn number 7. Through Hurry Downs, turn number 8. Dylan is once again struggling, can't get the power out of the car, and we realize that after the race that his diff was set to. Oh, there's Theo, he is spun. That's Dylan going around the outside, Marius going around the outside. So Theo, who was sitting in 2nd position, he's unfortunately now dropped it down to 5th. Dylan is off the track. That's going to allow Marius to go around the outside. So Marius finds himself back into 3rd place with Marshall in front of him in 2nd. We jump back to Theo after Theo spinning out of the carousel. Dylan struggling once again. You can see he's just trying to get that power on. And Theo getting a great run coming out of the last corner, turn number 14. Have a quick look backwards, and there's Theo moving to the inside. Will he be close enough? Dylan defends that inside line. Moves out to the braking zone on the dirt. Manages to get the car turned in. Back down the hill. Now through turn number 3. Theo looking to the inside, and Dylan is struggling to get the power once again. Shane runs a little bit wide, so he's not going to be able to get the advantage. Theo now moving to the inside through turn number 4. Little flash of the lights, that is Shane. Theo looking for a way around. Theo moves to the inside. Oh, a little touch between the two. Theo's braked himself completely. Marius is off once again. So Dylan is back up to 3rd. That is Shane in 4th. Theo, he's now in 5th place with Marius in a 6th. That is Shane coming back on Dylan, going around Dylan on the outside through turn number 7. A great move there by Shane. Now through Hurry Downs into turn number 8. You can just see how much time Dylan is losing. As mentioned earlier, that Dylan's rear diff was locked so much to try and accommodate for the rain, but as the track started drying up, it was bogging the power, and Dylan started losing that drive out of the corner. A race leader Ben will cross the line, and he begins the 7th lap. You can see a 22-second gap that is open between himself and 2nd place Marshall. In third place is Shane with Dylan in fourth. Theo's in fifth place with Marius in sixth. And that's Jake's down in seventh place, having to go into the pits to repair that damage. But you can see his lap times are right on the money, and I'm sure he'll be closing that gap soon. Theo has Dylan in his sights once again, crossing the start finish line. Into turn number one, Theo still showing on the inside. Dylan gets a little bit sideways, manages to catch it through on the wet. Through turn two, now on the brakes, turn number three. Dylan is wide and not having any power on the way out, and you can just see how Theo's drive completely destroys Dylan. So Theo moves himself up the order. Shane currently ahead of Theo, but Theo's now starting to put down that pressure. Shane is wide out of turn number 13, and that's going to allow Theo to go around the outside. So Theo, he will now move himself back up the order. Theo finds himself in a fourth position. Great shot of the guys coming through the pit wall exit camera. And Theo has made that move stick. And unfortunately we see Morris having to retire into the pits. It seems as if his car had gone into the pits, they did not repair, so he retired. The rain is back, and Shane has got a very quick Dylan behind him, starting to close him down. This is where the stiffer rear differential has helped. Dylan has been able to start closing that gap. As they cross the start finish line, we can look at the quick position. So Ben leads with Marshall, then Theo, Shane, Dylan, Jakes, and Marius unfortunately having to retire. Great shot of those exhausts just spitting those flames out on the gear shift down. Race leader Ben, as the sun starts dropping, will cross the line to begin lap number 12. Marshall finds himself in second place. It's 22 seconds behind the leader. Theo's in third with Shane in fourth place. Dylan closing that gap now down to 3 seconds. Dylan's in fifth with Jakes in sixth position. And it seems the hard work for Marshall is definitely starting to pay off. Here he finds himself in second place, and he has started opening himself a comfortable lead through the third place driver. Really good effort there for him. And Theo now, he too settling nicely, having found himself in third place. Theo, one of the only Porsches in the series, unfortunately. Ronaldo not here this evening, but you can see him wanting very much to close that gap down to Marshall, but Marshall driving very consistently. Theo might have to be settling for a third position. You can see that puddle starting to build up there. That was Theo. Big lockup down into turn 5. Back to Shane. Shane going a little bit wide there. Oh, Shane get very close to the curb. You can see how the rear just lifted as he touched that curb. It's a little lift off for him coming through turn number 11. Whoa, that is a major lag moment there, but Shane is okay. He did not hit the wall. Otherwise Dylan would have been able to pounce on that opportunity. So unfortunately you'll see Shane does not have any more lights. See Dylan really attacking these corners a lot harder in the wet, and also looking a lot more comfortable with that diff setting set for the wet weather. Unfortunately most of the practice was done in the wet and did not account for the dry spell. That really has cost Dylan his race, but still he will fight on till the end. And I'm pretty sure that Shane will be knowing that Dylan is closing this gap. Shane very tentative into turn number 5, then little back up the hill. Tricky braking points here into turn number 6. Shane turns, accelerates, he's lost the rear. Let's quickly jump to Dylan. Dylan, he now comes through turn number 6. There's Shane trying to rejoin back on the track. Dylan moves himself up into 4th place. Down the hill, turn number 8. Flames are going, brake calipers are glowing. Into turn number 9. Dylan gets onto the dry patch, puts some power with the car, just bogs, hits the inside curb that spins Dylan around. That's unfortunate. So Shane now able to get his position back, and Dylan taking an opportunity and letting it fall through his fingers. So we see Dylan now back on the dry track, and that rear has locked up and let go. Dylan just managing to catch it and is keeping himself off that wall. Great save there for Dylan. This is Jakes rejoining the track. He was also pushing extremely hard, trying to close down Dylan, and he unfortunately went off in the last corner. This is a Dylan coming through turn number 12. Same corner 2 laps later, and that rear locks up and lets go once again. We'll just see how quickly it happened from his point of view. Dylan still on the power, still has control, lets go, and a big impact into that wall, and manages to catch it going in the right direction. This is the race leader, second race here in the Tier 1. Ben will go up the hill for the last time. He'll come to the start-finish line, flash his lights, cross the line to win. So Ben from Australia, second race here in Tier 1, will come home in first. That is Marshall, a great effort for him in second position. Theo will stay consistent till the end. There he is there, and he will bring the car home in third position. Shane, another little lagging session for him, but he manages to finish in 4th place and keeps Dylan at bay. Dylan unfortunately will struggle the rest of the last 2 laps. He will manage, however, to keep Jakes at bay. You can see very tentative for Dylan coming through the last couple of corners. And Jakes will come home in 6th place, rounding off a very interesting, very tricky round number 6. Thank you so much, guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget that notification button. We'll be racing on Thursday night, the 19th of March, where we go to Spa-Francorchamps for round number 7. The highlights replay will be done the following weekend. So until then, keep racing, and don't forget, this video is proudly brought to you by Thrustmaster and Mettlestate. All the details are in the description below. So till then, thanks for watching, yos.